So what is I Dream of Space?
I Dream of Space, the short version is people give us $10 and we give them a 1 in 25,000 chance of going to space for reals. The slightly longer version is it's a way to make space accessible for the 99.9 recurring percent. Given that most of the options for people, even getting on a suborbital flight, is you're talking 6 figures minimum. So it's an attempt at trying to democratize that whole accessibility issue.
At what point do you guys think that you'll be able to purchase a ticket to one of these vehicles and be able to announce a winner?
Honestly, the whole thing is done on a threshold basis. So assuming that we can get 1,000 unique hits a day on the site, and assuming that we can stay steady at 8% conversion rates, which is what we're currently getting, I'm expecting close around December, January this year.
How many people have signed up so far?
As of this morning, 511 potential astronauts in 24 countries, 350 of which came in a 24-hour period when we were briefly mentioned by Dave Mosher on Wired. Thanks, Dave.
So how did you get started doing this? What gave you the inspiration?
You know what? I really want to say I was a space geek forever. And I had this story. I used to build rockets as a kid. But the truth is, I wanted to win a competition. There was a thing called Startup Weekend. Google it if you're so inclined. You have to build a business in 54 hours. And I wanted to figure out a way where we could build a thing which people could purchase, and we would have more customers than anybody else in the competition and would win. And so it took us 3 hours to build idreamofspace.com, the first version. And while they were doing that, I went around the room and saying, how much would you pay for a chance to go to space? And people would tick the little boxes on the piece of paper that we carried around. And 3 hours after we launched the site, which took us 3 hours to build, we had 30 customers without even leaving the room. Which is crazy because in a lot of the startups that have been involved in the past, not only did you have to go out and evangelize and try to get customers, often because it was new, you had to educate them as to why that was even useful in the first place, because it's a new thing, right? So I'd never seen this sort of polar effect where people were either really into it or not interested at all. But it's the I think the reason why people are interested in it isn't because of us. It's because they're already into space, and we're just a mechanism to allow them to engage with something that they're already passionate about. So, and then somewhere along the way, I became a space geek, and now I'm sort of stuck here.
So what's the most important thing that people need to know about I Dream of Space?
$10 equals you in space, maybe. You can fit that in a tweet 5 times, by the way. Depends on how you spell you. How many grammatical crimes you're willing to commit. But the other big thing about that is that we are very, very lean. We're very, very small. 511 customers. That's about $5,000. We've spent a lot less than that, so it's very, very scrappy. And there are multiple ways that people can help. One is cool, get on board and get your chance to go to space. But also people who can talk about it, that's a big deal for us because it's all traffic and conversions at this point. I'm excited about getting out and communicating to the existing space enthusiast community, but I'm even more excited about speaking to the non-space enthusiast community because those are the kind of people we're trying to sort of bring into the fold, so to speak. People liking us on StumbleUpon, that would be awesome. Social media networks, Facebook, that kind of stuff. And also giving us your advice as well as to how you think we can do a better job. So 1 in 25,000 actually is a 15,000% better chance than winning most countries' national lotteries.